Hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. Before discussing the company and its financial performance, it is important to understand the concept of working capital and why it is important for a business. Working capital refers to difference between a company's current assets and current liabilities. Current assets include cash, inventory, and account receivable, while current liabilities include short-term debt and obligations that must be paid within 1 year. Working capital plays a crucial role in ensuring that a company can carry out its day-to-day operations smoothly. A company with sufficient working capital can pay its suppliers on time, maintain inventory levels, meet operating expenses, and respond to unexpected financial needs. In addition, effective working capital management helps a company maintain liquidity and avoid cash flow problems. It also enables the company to balance profitability and liquidity by ensuring that resources are used efficiently without affecting its ability to meet short-term financial commitment. For a retail company such as 7-Eleven Malaysia holding Berhad, working capital management is especially important because the company operates a large number of convenience stores throughout the country. The company must maintain sufficient inventory, manage cash flow efficiently, and ensure that daily business activity continue without interruptions. Therefore, proper working capital management is essential for supporting the company's operations and achieving long-term business success. Now, I would like to introduce the company selected for this study, which is 7-Eleven Malaysia Holdings Berhad. 7-Eleven Malaysia Holdings Berhad is one of the leading convenience store chains in Malaysia. The company operates numerous outlets nationwide and provides a variety of products and services to meet the daily needs of consumers. The company offers foods and beverage, household items, personal care products, bill payment service, and many other convenience services. Due to its strategic locations and long operating hours, 7-Eleven has become a popular choice among Malaysians. Over the years, the company has expanded its operations and strengthened its market presence. Its focus on convenience, customer satisfaction, and product availability has contributed to its success in the retail industry. The purpose of this study is to examine the working capital management of 7-Eleven Malaysia Holdings Berhad. There are three main objectives of this study. First objective is to analyze the company working capital positions by examining its current assets and current liabilities. The second objective is to determine the working capital approach adopted by the company and identify whether it follows a conservative, moderate, or aggressive approach. The third objective is to evaluate the effectiveness of the company's working capital policy and assess its impact on the company's financial performance and liquidity positions. Through this analysis, we can gain a better understanding of how the company manages its short-term financial resources and obligations.
Hi, so today, for my part, I will explain more about CA, or we call it as current asset. So, based on the information that state on my slide, we all can see that the total current asset by year 2024 were 933,358. Compared to year 2025, the total current asset are decreased to 810,999. This shows a decrease of 122,359 or negative 30.1%. So basically the decrease caused by lower cash and bank balance, other investment and other receivables. So now let's moving forward to the current liabilities. As you can see there, the total current liabilities in year 2024 were 1,055,845 compared to 2025 increased to 1,319,114. This is an increase of 263,295 or 24.9%. To conclude, the increase was mainly due to the higher borrowing and trade payables.
Okay, now I will explain about the permanent and temporary current asset. Okay, based on the statement of financial position, inventory and trade receivable are classified as both, which is permanent current asset and temporary current asset. However, cash and bank balance is mainly permanent current asset because minimum cash balance is needed for the daily operation. The permanent portion represent the minimum level required to support daily retail operation, while the temporary portion arises from seasonal increase in sale and promotional activity. Cash and bank balance are mainly classified as permanent current asset because a minimum cash balance is required continuously for operation purpose.
So now I will explain more about how to calculate the net working capital. So in year 2024, the formula that we use is current ratio. So the formula is current asset minus current liabilities. So the total amount of current asset is 933,358 minus current liabilities, which is the amount is 1,055 1,055,845. So we got the answer, which is negative 122,487. So to conclude, the company has a negative working capital. Same goes to the year in 2025. The formula is current asset minus current liabilities. So the amount of current asset is 810,999 minus the amount of current liabilities, which is 1,319,114. So we got the negative, which is 508,141. So to conclude, the company has a negative working capital. So now I will explain more about how to calculate current ratio. So in year 2024, the formula of current ratio is current asset divide current liabilities. So the total amount of current asset is 933,358 divide of current liabilities, which is 1,055,845. So we got the answer, which is 0.88 times. So it's below 1.0. To conclude, indicates higher short-term liquidity risks. So moving forward to year 2025, the formula of current ratio is current asset divide current liabilities. So the total amount of current asset is 810,999 divide 1,319,114. So we got the answer, which is 0.61 times. So it's below 1.0. To conclude, indicates higher short-term liquidity risks.
Now I will talk about the financial source for the current FA asset. Okay, the company non-current assets amount is RM1759.489 million, while the combined total of equity and non-current liability is RM1440474 million. This indicated that long-term financial insufficient to fully cover non-current asset. As a result, part of the company asset its financial current liability amount to RM1319.140 million. This situation suggests that the company relies heavily on short-term financing sources, such as borrowing, trade payable, and other payable to support both in current asset and part of its long-term asset requirement.
I will talk about working capital approach. Based on the financial analysis, 7-Eleven Malaysia Holding Berhad adopts an aggressive working capital approach. This approach is identified because the company relies heavily on the short-term financing, which is current liabilities, to finance its current asset. In both 2024 and 2025, current liabilities exceed the current asset, resulting in a negative net working capital. As you can see, net working capital for 2024 is 122,487,000 ringgit and net working capital for 2025 is 508,141,000 ringgit. And the current ratio for 2024 is 0.88 times and current ratio for 2025 is 0.61 times. We see these figures indicate that the company depends significantly on the short-term liabilities to finance its day-to-day operations. Okay, so why is it aggressive? Because the 7-Eleven relies heavily on the current liabilities to finance its current assets. So the resulting in negative working capital and the current ratio below 1. The second one is reduces financing costs because the short-term funds are generally cheaper. And the third one is increased profitability but exposes the company to higher liquidity and refinancing the risk. So the last one is suitable for business with the fast inventory turnover such as convenience stores. So based on this graph, the company relies more on the short-term financing such as current liabilities to finance its current assets. This approach can reduce the financing cost and increase the profit. However, it is riskier because the company may face the cash flows problem if it cannot pay the short-term obligations. Our analysis shows that the company has negative working capital and the current ratio below 1, indicating heavy dependence on the short-term financing. Therefore, 7-Eleven Malaysia Holding Berhad follows an aggressive working capital approach because its finances are significant portion of its current assets using the short-term liabilities. So, it's resulting in negative working capital and the current ratio below 1.
Now, I will explain the working capital policy adopted by 7-Eleven Malaysia. 7-Eleven Malaysia follows a restricted working capital policy, also known as aggressive policy. 7-Eleven Malaysia follow a restricted working capital policy by maintaining low levels of current assets and managing inventory efficiently. The company aims to maximize the use of its funds by reducing excess cash and stock while ensuring products are replenished regularly. This approach helps improve profitability and operational efficiency. The main characteristics of this policy are maintaining low levels of current assets, focus on efficiency inventory management, reduce cash and excess stock, and lastly, higher risk but potentially higher returns. So the reason why it is suitable for 7-Eleven because the inventory is replenished frequently due to strong supplier networks. It is also fast-moving. Consumer goods are sold quickly, reducing the need for large stock shareholders. Not only that, efficient inventory system helps minimize storage costs. And lastly, funds can be invested in business expansion and store improvements instead of holding excess current assets.
In conclusion, based on the financial statement for 2024 and 2025, 7-Eleven Malaysia Holdings Berhad adopt an aggressive working capital approach and a restricted working capital policy. The company recorded negative net working capital in both years, which means its current liabilities were higher than its current assets. The current ratio of 0.61 in 2025 and 0.88 in 2024 show that the company relies heavily on short-term financing. This strategy can help increase profitability and reduce the financing costs. However, it also creates higher liquidity risk because the company may face difficulties in meeting its short-term obligations. Overall, the company needs effective cash flow management to ensure its operations remain stable and efficient. Lastly, this assignment helps our group improve our teamwork, communication, and financial analysis skills through cooperation and shared responsibilities.